All right, so I know you guys have been asking for more West Coast tutorials. So we've been covering a lot, but today we're gonna cover another West Coast tutorial. Let's get into it. This would be something that I would send out for like Mozzy or YG or both on the same song. So let's hear the full beat. Then I'm gonna break it down and explain everything I did to make this style of beat. But first we gotta hear the full beat. Let's go. So first I want to break down the arrangement real quick. We have the 8-bar intro. The first 4 bars kind of introduced, obviously, a couple of the melodies with the bass line. Then we go into the second 4 bars of the intro, the last 4 bars of the 8-bar intro. And then we get introduced to a stomp right here. Wow, I don't know what I just did. Hold on. We get introduced to a stomp right here and this little synth that comes in right here. Adds a nice texture to it. Gives it that West Coast feel. Then we drop into the hook where you see an 808, right? And then the bass drops out. Bass stays dropped out. We drop into a kick to accent the second part of the hook more. So that's an 8-bar hook. Then we drop into a 16-bar verse right here, and then it gets repeated after that. But the bass line comes back in, and then halfway through on the second 8 bars of the verse, we drop into an 808. So just to kind of give you like a main overview of how, you know, I arranged this beat. But let's go ahead and start on the first thing I did for this beat, which is going to be this bell. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you the preset I use. It's actually inside Flex, which is free for FL Studio, Haunting Hour. So let's go ahead and change this to pattern mode and break this down real quick. So I actually ended up moving the scale around, as you can see. So it's actually an A sharp minor. Yeah, because that C wasn't in key with the D sharp. So we actually didn't start on the 1 chord. I actually started on the 4 for the melody. So here's A sharp, 2, 3, and then 4 is D sharp. So that's the 4th note of the scale. I try to keep notes that are pretty close together, so it gives a lot of tension to the melody. So you'll see that we start on D sharp and we go to F. So to stay in the key, I didn't go from D sharp obviously to E because it'd be out. I went right next to F. But there's notes in the scale right here and here, C, C sharp that are very close together. And then over here we have F and F sharp that are very close together. But since I started on the D sharp, I just went up 1 note. So one thing you can do is instead of landing on every quarter note like this, go ahead and put it 1 step right before, and it'll kind of give it like a nice swing. So to make this simple, you'll see I'm having a note land on every 1, right? We have the downbeat of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then I have notes that kind of go in between to fill it out and give it a little bit of bounce. And then we go into the chords. So let's go into the chords real quick. This is in Nexus. So in piano, it's the Nexus Grand right here. And then for mixing portion of it, I cut out a lot of low end, some of the highs, and then a little bit of that like low mid range because there's a little bit of buildup. So for this, I just built out a simple triad, D sharp, F sharp, A sharp. So we're skipping every other note. And then for the second chord, all I did was keep the A sharp the same. I flattened the F sharp to an F right here, which is going to give us a little bit more tension. And then I brought the D sharp down to C so that I can go from C to C sharp. Again, focusing on those tension notes. And right here, another thing you can do is just cut this. We can cut right here and just create 2 chords. But for this beat, sometimes I don't want there to be another chord there. So I kind of just let the root note move around, and it kind of gives you that feel, since these rung out, that it's changing. But you can cut it and have it something like this. And then for the last chord, you'll see it's the same chord as right here, but all I did was add this A sharp down here, right underneath, and that gave this feel to kind of give it, again, some more tension. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in this video, but let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. The next thing we go into is this bell. So right here, this bell isn't doing anything too crazy, just catches on the last part of the 3rd into the 4th bar. So let's go ahead and check this preset right here. Again, Nexus, Epic Pad, boom, right there. And that has a little bit of EQ, cutting out some lows and some highs again. The reason I'm doing that on a lot of these is because I don't want it to be too bright. I kind of want it to be like a darker beat. So I'm cutting out a lot of high end. So we just did a little quick scale run right here, starting on C, C sharp to the next note, D sharp, back down to C. So real simple, close notes, scale run. Kind of just adds a little bit of a transition and a little bit of something that can happen at the end of like a bar to kind of just, I guess you could say, make it sound a little different, keep the beat flowing. Then after that, we get the bass line. So a lot of this is from, besides the Nexus, a lot of this is stock. So the bass that you hear right here is actually a really good bass. It's GMS, which is an FL Studio plugin. And I've explained this a few other times, but this has some of my favorite basses, especially for a stock plugin. So just go ahead and hit basses, and then you can go through them. We're using the funky bass, but if when you load it up, it looks different, you can go ahead and copy it. So we're not playing anything but 2 notes, same pattern type thing, but right here, it's a little bit longer than this note. And then we have a little scale run here, again, just running up the scale and then down. So let's go ahead and hear this on its own. To get that feel of like that push pull is a lot better and easier to do on a keyboard. Then you can go ahead and like quantize it and mess with it. You see how those are being like held out, and it's a completely different vibe than this right here. And we're just talking about like how long we're holding the notes. That has a better jump and like feel than this. So that's why I like to play them on the MIDI keyboard, so I can really get what I want down. But obviously you could type it in. But for me, I always think it's easier. Even right here, look how it cuts off. It just sounds good. They're not hitting exactly and ending exactly the same. You definitely want to have the notes kind of stop before the next one hits. And then how long you're going to have that stop kind of just depends on the beat, but it gives it a way better flow. Then the next thing we have is a synth, and I'm pretty sure this is a stock VST too. Let's go into this synth and let's hear this. Quick little synth whistle, nothing crazy. Another little scale run, hit D sharp, C sharp, C, right down the scale, boom, 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 back to C sharp. So it's like 3 notes that are playing, nothing crazy. And let's see what this is. Yep, we got flex again. Let me find the preset that was used right here. And this might have some processing on it. Yep, again, look at without it. Let's hear it without it. And then with. On its own, you probably would want it to have the EQ off, but in the beat, it fits a lot better with the processing that I had. Real simple. I'm not going crazy with the lead for this beat. It's just adding a little nice accent. It's giving it more of that West Coast feel. So then after that, we get into the drums. The drums aren't anything crazy. So the 808 is going to follow the same notes as the bass line, except for that end part we had on the bass line. So you see we have 3 hits here, 3 hits here, starts on the D sharp, A sharp, just like the bass. But then we have this F that kind of comes in and jumps up. So we hit the D sharp, and right before second bar, we have that F hit. Same thing over here, right before the 4th bar, we have the F hit again. So right here, we have the clap, that's on the 2 and the 4. Then we get the stomp, just like this one does into the 3rd bar, right? So we have that stomp layered in real easy, and then we get a crash that lands on the 1 and the 3. So let's hear this all together. Nice bounce, but easy for an artist to get on, still open. Then we get the hi-hat. Following that 808, 3 little hits right here. Then we get a roll. So as long as you're in cell, all I did is skip 2 in between each one. And instead of landing 1 here, I went ahead and deleted this one, but you see I skipped 2 again, and then we created a roll. So this roll is going to be created in 3rd step, I believe. Yep, real easy. You could come right here, grab this tool, and go something like that. I did a couple more rolls here. As you can see, this is going to hit on the second part of this little section right here. So skip that, and then 1 right there. Three again, same roll. And then the only thing that changes over here is we get like this nice little delayed roll that happens. So right here, to get this delayed feel you hear right here. So right here, if you're in the triplet mode, I talk about this in a lot of my videos, but we can do either 4 or 8 of these little squares. So we can hit 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. I hit that. There's another one right here. This is going to be a triplet, but I deleted the first one. And then I have the velocities kind of go up. and hit one note right there. That's about it. Then it kind of gets arranged. So I'm gonna start this halfway through the intro. Let's hear the beat one more time. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video, leave a thumbs up. You guys can follow me on all social medias at Lifestyle Did It. Make sure to hit my site, lifestyledidit.com, for everything else. Other than that, subscribe to your boy, push notifications. Thanks.